Once upon a time, there lived 10 fools. They were very close friends. One day, they set forth on a journey while walking. They reached a river on the way. Upon crossing the bridge, they wanted to make sure that all of them had reached the other shore safely. One of the 10 began to count. But, while counting others, he left himself out. And then, said, "I see only 9, which means we have lost one. Who can it be?" "Did you contractly?" asked another, and decided to do another head count. He also left himself out, while counting, and counted only night, one after the other. Each of them counted, but kept missing himself. "We are only 9. They all acted in despair. But, who is the missing one? They all made all kind of efforts, but failed to discover the missing person. One of them said, "He must have fallen into the water, and drowned while crossing the river." Then, one of them burst into tears. The others also started wailing and crying. Meanwhile, a monk was passing by, seeing them, weeping and wailing on the riverbank. He stopped there to inquire why they were wailing and crying so loudly. They told him what had happened with them, and said that, even after counting themselves several times, they could find only 9 of them. Then, they said, "Probably one of them has drowned in the river while crossing. That's why they all are willing." The monk, who could see all the 10 before him, first began to laugh. The 10 fools were very angry that he was laughing when one of their friend has drowned. The monk calmed them down and assured them that all were alive and no man had drowned. Then, he said, "I will help you to find the 10th missing person. So, do as I say." All the 10 fools agreed to obey him. Then, the monk said, "First of all of you stand in a line. Then, each of you should count himself in a serial order, of one after the other, like 1, 2, 3 and so on. I shall give each one of you a blow, and you shall recite your number, so that all of you may be sure of having been included in the count, and included only once. The 10th missing man will then be found." Hearing of this solution proposed by the monk, the 10 fools got little happy at the prospect of finding their lost companion, and they all stood in a line. Then, as the monk gave each of them a blow, they settled out one, while the monk gave a blow to the second. He said 2, and thus he each of the 10 in the turn, and the last one said 10. As soon as the last one said 10, bewildered, they looked at each other to discover who had returned. Then, they all burst out with joy and started saying, "We are 10." They said with one voice, and thanked the monk for having removed their grief. If we see in this story, we will find that the cause of the grief of those 10 men was not the real loss of any of their companion. In fact, it was their ignorance, or rather their mere supposition, that one of them was lost. And such is the case with all of us. We live our whole life in ignorance. Truly, there is no cause for us to be miserable and unhappy in our life. But, we impose limitations on our true nature of being infinite. And then, try that we are miserable for centuries. The enlightened ones have been telling us, "You are not finite being, but you are infinite being. You are a pure self. You have always been that yourself. Your ignorance is merely an imaginary ignorance like that of the 10 fools." As long as they all were in ignorance, they were sad, but as soon as they came to know that they have not lost anyone, they became happy. Similarly, whenever there is sorrow in our life, understand that it has come due to our ignorance. And once you have the knowledge of your true self, then no circumstances will be able to make you unhappy. This is Courage to Act Motivation Stories.